So today we shift from Aitareya. We finished with our Aitareya Upanishad and Aitareya Brahmana. We took one myth of Shunakshepa, and now we are moving into Taittiriya. Taittiriya is another great shakha of Krishna Yajurveda. You know that Yajurveda has two different recensions, Krishna Yajurveda with many recensions, 4 different types, one of which is Taittiriya, and Shukla Yajurveda. Shukla is white Yajurveda, Krishna is black Yajurveda. This split of Yajurveda into 2 different directions of Shukla and Krishna happened long ago. And there is a description in Brahmanas. There was a dispute between Yajnavalkya and Vaishampayana Rishi. And the dispute was about bringing the Brahmanic texts, the commentaries on the Vedas, into the Shruti canon. So Yajnavalkya was against this new tendency to bring the commentaries as a part of revelation. So these Brahmanas were created in that time. And so Vaishampayana Rishi was his teacher, guru. So Vaishampayana Rishi said, okay, if you object to this, give back the knowledge you received from me and leave. So Yajnavalkya said, okay. So he opened his mouth, and from his mouth, small bird, Tittiri, flew out. And that Tittiri bird was the knowledge of the Veda. And that's why we call it Taittiriya, from Tittiri, from that bird which flew out from the mouth of Yajnavalkya. So now you know the meaning of Taittiriya Samhita. Taittiriya Samhita is one of the most popular Samhitas in India nowadays, today. The Taittiriya style of recitation took over all other styles, even the Rigvedic style and so on. Mainly all over India, they recite in Taittiriya style. Because it was in the middle of India, in Maharashtra, and Sri Sayanacharya, who made commentaries on all the Vedas. He lived in Maharashtra and he was the follower of Taittiriya. So somehow Taittiriya style took over. So Taittiriya has Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. Aranyaka has 10 chapters, 3 of which is Taittiriya Upanishad. Yeah. It is the 7th, 8th, and 9th chapter of Taittiriya Aranyaka, which is a part of Taittiriya Brahmana, which is the part of Taittiriya Samhita. So why this split on Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda took place? Because the commentaries, Brahmanas, were introduced into Samhita text. They became part of it, and it got kind of mixed, and that's why it got this name Krishna Yajurveda, mixed things. So commentaries are mixed with the revelations of Yajurveda, of Samhita text. So, and then Aranyaka follows with commentaries and explanations and myths of a later time, and then Upanishad is a totally new story. So I told you that Taittiriya Aranyaka has 10 chapters, of which 7th, 8th, and 9th is Taittiriya Upanishad, and the 10th chapter is Mahanarayani Upanishad. So that would conclude the body of Taittiriya Samhita of Krishna Yajurveda. There are other samhitas in the Krishna Yajurveda. There is Kathaka, Kapishtala Kathaka, and Maitrayani Samhita, plus to these. So Kathaka is the oldest with Kapishthala Kathaka, then Taittiriya comes, and then the youngest is Maitrayani Samhita. And Shukla Yajurveda has two major recensions, Madhyandina and Kanva. That's basically it. So what happened to to Yajnavalkya when he gave back this bird, Tittiri? He went to Himalayas and started his tapasya there. And over thousands of years, worshipping the sun, he got the revelation from the sun directly, and that became Vajasanei Samhita or Yajnavalkya Samhita of Shukla Yajurveda. Vajasane, it is his name because his father was Vajaseni, so he's Vajasanei. So that's the very famous Samhita, where Isha Upanishad is the 40th conclusive chapter. So Isha Upanishad is a part of Samhita. It's a conclusion of the whole Veda of Shukla Yajurveda. And then, of course, there is a huge and very famous and important Shatapatha Brahmana, which belongs to this Shukla Yajurveda of Vajasane Samhita, where there is a part of Brihadaranyaka of Upanishad is a part of it. Okay, now you know kind of where we are. So we are in this Taittiriya domain, home. So Taittiriya Upanishad has 3 chapters which are very interesting because first is Shikshavali. It's kind of introducing the foundations or basics of the action of worship, of the formulation of the worlds and how to behave, how to relate to the teacher, how to receive knowledge, how to understand it. It's some kind of ancient karma yoga, if you will. Yeah? Then there is another chapter which is called Brahmanandawali. Here it is. Vali is a kind of a creeper or the section. So the Brahmanandawali is the Ananda of Brahman. And this has something to do, as you already understand, Ananda, love, joy, bliss of the devotion and heart. So first was karma, kanda, and now we have bhakti of some kind, ancient bhakti. And the last one is called Bhrigovali, which we will look into today. And this Bhrigovali is the section of Bhrigu Rishi. Now, I was mentioning that Bhrigu and Bhargavas is the ancient clan of rishis. There are 2 types, 2 clans, major clans, as Angirasa rishis and Bhargavas. Angiras rishis were worshipping Brahaspati, following the Brahaspati. They are even considered to be flames or the tongues of Brahaspati. Brahaspati is the Lord of the divine word, the teacher of the gods, the Jupiter in the Western tradition, belonging to Thursday. Thursday is his day. Jupiter, Brahaspati, and Bhrigu Bhargavas, as you know, Bhargava and Shukracharya was the Bhargava. He was the teacher of the demons. And he belongs to Shukra, to the Venus. So this kind of fight between Jupiter and Venus, a constant kind of rivalry between the two, between the gods and asuras, as it were. And in the Western tradition, as you know, this Venus has something to do with sensual enjoyment and enjoyment in nature and all those kind of features which were kind of prohibited in the even Christian tradition, yes? And Brahaspati is very righteous and has nothing to do with this lower enjoyment in nature. So you could see that there is a kind of interesting opposition between the two, between Angirasa rishis and Bhargavas. Bhargavas belonged to the old cult of the Soma yagas, of these sacrifices or oblations of Soma. They were worshipping the divine in nature, universal powers of the divine in nature, and trying by the means of the nature to discover the divine in nature. So to say, Purusha sacrifice, all these sacrifices of the animals, all these oblations were made in the ancient, form of sacrifice, preceding Angirasa rishis. Angirasa rishis are modern rishis. They came later, and they brought with them new gods, so to say, and started to worship Brahaspati. Brahaspati is a new god in a way. All Indra, for example, Indra and Brahaspati, their relation. Indra is totally new god, in comparison to the first rituals. Indra is not mentioned there. His birth is even described in the Rig Veda. But the ancient gods such as Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, all those ancient, they were always worshipped from before time, from before in the prehistoric times. So one was worshipping the nature and the divine in nature, and all these Bhargavas, Bhrigu, and by the means of nature we discover the divine, by the effort in nature, by our aspiration to become better, by this fire burning in nature we discover the divine. And there is the flame in the heart, Angirasa rishis, and that heart, discovery of the psychic presence, actually deeper in the heart there is Brahaspati. Brahaspati is the Lord of the divine world, located in the heart. He brings that love forward, that kind of formulation of intention to discover the divine. It's a totally new modality which wasn't there before. So in this esoteric history of evolution of consciousness, we see that it comes later. We spoke about this in the section of Agni. So now you know that Bhrigus belong to those ancient rishis, who represent Bhargavas, so to say, clan, who by the means of nature and by the divine power in nature discovered the divine. Now I can give you this section. It was a longish introduction, but kind of nitty-gritties, but they are needed for us to locate ourselves properly. I'm sure many of you know about these things. Yep. Kind of. Right. Looking at your face doesn't do the kind of. Many of you know about this. Everyone looks at you. No, sorry. Okay, if you didn't know, then it's good to know. Okay, Bhariguvalli, let us look into this. I wanted to take my text because it has, Sri Aurobindo's printout doesn't have the accent. I need accent, Vedic accent. So I will read to you and translate on the fly. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is the Shanti Patha of Taittiriya. So Shukla Yajurveda will have this Shanti Patha. So each Shanti Patha is a kind of signature to the Samhita. Shanti Patha is calling to peace, before we read the text. So we know that this. So may he kind of increase or protect us both. May he enjoy us both. May we create a powerful outcome. May that what we learned stay bright with us. May we never be in discordance to each other. May we never hate each other. This is a kind of direct translation. So who are these may we both two? We do not know who are these two. Sometimes it is translated as teacher and student, sometimes as my inner and outer consciousness, or even sometimes as me and food which I will eat. So before the eating of food, usually this mantra is pronounced in India. Okay, so Bharigo. Bharigur Varunihi. Bharigu was indeed the son of Varuna. Varuna is this ancient god, archaic god. The lord of the vastness and purity of the divine existence. Varunam Pitaram Upasasara, and he approached his father Varuna. Adhihi Bhagavo Brahmeti, teach me about Brahman. Tasma etat provacha, and he told him this. Annam pranam chakshushrotram mano vacham iti. Annam, matter or body, pranam, the breath or life energy, chakshuh, seeing, shrotram, hearing, manas, thinking or mind, vacham, speech or word, iti, thus. Tagam hovacham, he told him thus. Yato va imani bhutani jayante, from where all these beings are being born. Yena jatani jivanti, by what all these beings live. Yat prayantyabhisam vishanti, and to what these beings go after death. Tad vijijñāsasva, try to discern that. Tad Brahmeti, that is Brahman. Satapo tapyata, and he flamed in tapas. Satapas taptva, and having flamed in tapas. Annam Brahmeti vyajanat, he realized or discerned that matter is Brahman. Annadhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante, because from Anna, from matter, all these beings are being born. Annena jatani jivanti, by matter or by food, these beings live. Annam prayanti abhisam vishanti, and into the matter after death they go. Tad vijñāya, having realized so, punareva varunam pitaram upasasara, he again approached his father Varuna. Adhihi bhagavo brahmeti, teach me, O blissful Lord, about Brahman. Tagam hovacha, and he told him this. Tapasa Brahma vijijñāsasva, try to realize Brahman by tapas. Tapo Brahmeti, because Brahman is tapas. Satapo tapyata, and he flamed by tapas. Satapas taptva, and having flamed by tapas. Prano Brahmeti Vyajanat. He realized that Brahman is prana, or vital energy. Pranadhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante, because from prana all these beings are being born. Pranena jatani jivanti, by prana they indeed live. Pranam prayantyabhisambhishantiti, and by prana, and into prana they go after death. Tad vijñāya, having realized so, punareva varunam pitaram upasasara, he again approached his father Varuna. Adhihi bhagavo brahmeti, teach me, O blissful Lord, about Brahman. Tagam hovacha, and he told him this. Tapasa brahma vijijñāsasva, try to realize Brahman by tapas. Tapo brahmeti, tapas is Brahman. Satapo tapyata, and he flamed in tapas. Satapas taptva, and having flamed in his tapasya, in his concentrated effort. Mano brahmeti vyajanat, he realized that Brahman is manas, mind. Manaso hyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante, because indeed from manas all these beings are being born. Manasa jatani jivanti, and being born by mind they live. Manav prayantyabhisamvishantiti, and to the mind they go after death. Tad vijñāya, having realized so, punareva varunam pitaram upasasara, he again approached his father Varuna. Adhihi bhagavo brahmeti, teach me, O blissful Lord, about Brahman. Tagam hovacha, and he told him this. Tapasa brahma vijijñāsasva, try to realize Brahman by tapas. Tapo brahmeti, because Brahman is tapas. Satapo tapyata, and he flamed in tapas. Satapas taptva, and having flamed in tapas. Vijñānam brahmeti vyajanat, he realized that Brahman is the supermind. Vijñānadhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante, because indeed from the supermind all these beings are being born. Vijñānena jatani jivanti, and by supermind being born they live. Vijñānam prayantyabhisambhishantiti, and to Vijñāna indeed they go after death. Tad vijñāya, having realized so, punareva varunam pitaram upasasara, he again approached his father Varuna. Adhihi bhagavo brahmeti, teach me, O blissful Lord, about Brahman. Tagam hovacha, and he told him this. Tapasa brahma vijijñāsasva, try to realize Brahman by tapas. Tapo brahmeti, because Brahman is tapas. Satapo tapyata, he flamed in tapas, and having flamed in tapas, satapas taptva, Anando brahmeti vyajanat, he realized that Brahman is bliss, Ananda. Anandat anandadhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante, because from Ananda indeed all these beings are being born. Anandena jatani jivanti. By Ananda indeed they live. Anandam prayantyabhisamvishantiti. And to Ananda they go after death. Saisha Bhargavi Varuni Vidya Parame Vyoman Pratisthita. And that is indeed the knowledge of Bhrigu, son of Varuna. And it is established in the highest heaven. So this is the knowledge of Bhrigu, which he received from Varuna in brief, in one paragraph. And it is, of course, profound, and it has many implications. The whole vision of Sri Aurobindo's yoga, integral yoga, is built on this paragraph. So, what did we learn here? We learned that there are 5 levels of Brahman. There is material being, material Brahman. Notice that it is also Brahman. It's not some matter away from spirit or something against spirit or some separation. No, no separation. Brahman is matter. This is something which was never fathomed after in the post-Vedic period. How come that Brahman is matter? Brahman is prana also. Brahman is manas, and Brahman is supermind and transcendental Ananda. Ananda, and there he stops, because Sat Chit Ananda, when you reach Ananda, then Sat Chit is implied. It's already there. Though they will be mentioned in the text after this. If you have some questions or remarks, please go ahead. It is a well-known text. Yes, you know it. Jayashri, you must know it.
Yes, I'm familiar with it, but not in such beautiful detail as you explained.
Well, we just read the text through. Yes, it's what is striking here, that every time he realizes that Brahman is there, matter, prana, he comes back to his father Varuna. He doesn't stop there, as if there's more to learn. He kind of knows it intuitively, or somehow he knows, and he receives the same answer all the time. That Brahman is tapas. Try to realize Brahman by tapas. So what does it tell us? That Brahman can be realized only by Brahman. So tapas is Brahman. By tapas you realize Brahman. So here we are. So only by the means of Brahman we can realize Brahman. Not by other means. It tells me something interesting from the philosophical kind of upbringing. Hegel says that you cannot reach the aim which is by the means which is not from that aim. So you cannot become good by the means of bad. Yeah? You cannot become kind of arrive at something proper by the improper means. It doesn't work that way, strangely enough. We kind of don't understand that. Many people don't understand. They think that they will do this now, for now, and then they will become better. It never happens. You don't become better. It's like now in this Russia, there are so many crooks and thieves and criminals are sitting, and they think that they will be better. You know how they speak? It's quite interesting. They say, at least our children will be better. At least our children will have means to survive and live. We are lost, yes, but them will be better. So maybe in that case, yes, maybe children will not be so kind of criminals and crooks as their parents. But I'm not sure even then, because all that wealth which was acquired, stolen, has a particular flavor or something, you know, which is never good for the being.
Like in India, we believe it is tainted by bad karma.
Oh yeah, but that's another way of explaining it.
Yeah, that's the common way of explaining.
Very nice, yes. So by the means of Brahman, you can reach Brahman, and every time he is the same kind of push by the tapas, and still he comes to receive the same message. And it helps him to start again a new research. So he is being initiated 5 times, yeah? Every time he comes to him for new initiation. He needs his support. And you know, Varuna is the highest of the Adityas. It is the purity of the divine being, Sat. And he belongs to Varuna, you know. So there are few rishis who belong to this. Bhrigu is one of them. There is another Vasishtha Maitravāruni and Agastya Maitravāruni. They belong to this lineage of Mitra and Varuna. Okay, and then, what happened then? Saya evam Veda. Saya evam Veda pratitishthati annavanannado bhavati mahan bhavati prajaya pashubhir brahma varchasena mahan kirtyam. The one who knows thus, this is the formula for all texts starting from Brahmanas and even from Taittiriya Samhita. The one who knows thus is established. He becomes rich in food, eater of food, great by progeny or offspring, and the conscious beings, let us translate like this, and the luminosity of Brahman, great in glory. And then there are sections which are profound, but I'm not going through them. I'm coming to the end of the Upanishad. There is a kind of affirmation of the matter and material existence. One should not hate matter. That is the law. Because prana is matter, and the body is the eater of this matter, of the food. Let us say food. Prana is food, and the body is eater of food. In the prana, the body is established. In the body, the prana is established. And that food established in food, and that is food established in food. And the one who knows this food established in food is established, becomes rich in food, eater of food, great in progeny and luminosity of Brahman, great in glory, and so on. One should not neglect the food or matter. Again, the same story. One should make matter grow. Bahukurvita. That is the law. So this establishment of physical existence is so profound, so important. They are kind of focusing us on it. And then there is a profound ending of the Upanishad. And I will read this. Here it is. Sayaschayam Purushe, that which is in Purusha, Yascha Saaditye, and that which is in that sun, and sun is always the supramental consciousness. Sayekaham, Sayekaham, that is one. So what is here in the man and what is there in the sun is one and the same. Sayaevam Vita, the one who knows thus. Asma lokat pretya, having gone from this world. Etamannamayam upasamkramya, having joined this self made of matter. Etam pranayam upasamkramya, having joined this self made of prana. Etam manomayam upasamkramya, having joined the self made of mind. Etam vijnanamayam upasamkramya, having joined the self made of the supermind. Etamanandamayam upasamkramya, having joined the self made of ananda, transcendental bliss. Iman lokan kamani kamarupyanu sancharan. He moves in all these worlds, partaking of food at will. Kamarupyanu sancharan, moving in them, partaking of any form at will, taking any form and any enjoyment in these worlds. Etat samagayan naste, he sits singing this saman, this hymn. Now, he sits and moves in all these worlds, partaking of whatever form and whatever food, and sings this hymn. And the hymn is profound. Havu, havu, havu. This cannot be translated. There is no translation for it. It's like A and U, two letters. Ha is the establishment of the infinite, undifferentiated existence. U is pervasive intrusion of the spirit into manifestation, as it were. If I translate it from the etymological point of view. Ahamannam, 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 I am food, I am food, I am food. 3 times. Ahamannado, hamannado, ahamannadaha, I am the eater of food, I am the eater of food, I am the eater of food. This is something profound. I'm thinking how beautifully it is arranged. I am the food and I am the eater of food. So if you want to lose weight, and some people like to lose weight, me especially, I'm so easily fat. So you just have to stop feeding the body, and the fire within will eat it. Don't worry. It will eat you as a food. You are the food and you are the eater of food at the same time. It is so simple to lose the weight. Just stop feeding the fire within and it will eat you as a food. Ahanga shloka krit, ahanga shloka krit, ahanga shloka krit. I'm the speaker of the word, or the creator of the intention, or the speaker of shloka. Shloka in this case, a hymn. Ahamasmi prathama jaritasya. I am firstborn of the truth. Purvam devebhyo amritasya nabhai, in the navel of immortality before the gods. Yoma dadati saideva mavaha, who gives me, he is nourishing me. So to give oneself is to nourish oneself. To sacrifice. Who sacrifices me, he is nourishing me, increasing me. Ahamannamannamadantamadmi. I am the food, and I eat the eater of food. Aham Vishvam Bhuvanamabhyabhavam. I overcame the whole world. Suvarnajyoti, or golden light. Ya evam Veda Ityopanishad. The one who knows thus is the Upanishad. So this is the ecstatic conclusion of the Upanishad. So the Rishi joins all the levels, from the physical to the transcendental, becomes oneself. So I think this is the ideal of the immortality in the body. Because if you can join all the selves, starting from the physical towards the supramental and transcendental, all the levels into one body, then you can really partake of every food on any level and take any form on any level of consciousness. And you become food on 3 levels. You become mental, vital, and physical food. You become the mental, vital, and physical eater of food. You become mental, vital, and physical creator of intention, or the word expression, or creator of the world, as it were. And one is born first of the truth, of the dynamic truth, before the gods in the navel of immortality. And who gives me, he is increasing me, because I am the eater of food, and I am eating the food and the eater of food. I overcame the whole world. This is profound because it is all in the first person. It's I, yeah, and this I belongs to all of us. It kind of, we can identify ourselves with the text, knowing immediately what we are actually. Okay, I will stop here, and if you have some questions for these or some clarifications needed, please. Or you want to share some ideas and thoughts.
So you were saying that Varuna is the highest of the Aditis?
Yeah, Adityas, yes.
Okay. So I still am trying to figure out who everybody is in relation to each other. Um, so can you explain
Right.
a little bit more?
Yes, yes, of course. Varuna is the Sat. Yeah. By the way, I was exactly working on this today with my text because we are preparing for the publishing, for publication. Here they are, all of them. You can see Varuna, Sat, infinite existence. Mitra, Chit, consciousness, divine consciousness. Yeah? So these are transcendental realms. Aryaman is tapas, or force, divine force. Bhaga, Ananda, bliss. So this Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, Shubin, these 4, he calls them the guardians of light. These are the 4 transcendental representatives of Aditi, of infinite mother consciousness force. So she has 4 aspects of the existence, consciousness, force, and bliss. In the Veda, we are speaking about the Veda. Later, Mitra and Aryaman, they merge, and consciousness force, consciousness power become Chit Shakti, Chit Tapas becomes one entity. So later we have only Sat Chit Ananda. So tapas is implied in Chit. Yeah? Tapas is not separated from Chit. So it disappears, melts in Chit. So Sri Aurobindo speaks about Sat Chit Ananda, implying that Chit is Chit Shakti, Chit Tapas. So Mitra and Aryaman, and you notice that there is no hymn separated to Aryaman in the Rig Veda, you can't find. It's always with Mitra together. There is only one hymn to Mitra, but there are many to Varuna. So Varuna, when Varuna is mentioned, Mitra and Aryaman are implied. But there is no Mitra without Varuna. No possible. Without infinite existence, without Sat, without the one who is, there is no consciousness. So there must be someone who has consciousness, and who has power, and whose consciousness and power emanate bliss, which becomes the foundation for the creation. That's why he says, from bliss all these beings come into existence. By bliss they live, because this lower is actually the creation. And then there are lower three, Daksha, Amsha, and Surya, and this is triple supermind, supramental knowledge force, supramental one in many in one, and Surya Savitri, supramental manifestation. Surya itself is radiating into the darkness his rays, and manifestation is taking place. I will send you this article if you want to see how this and the whole vision of triple worlds, how they are connected. We spoke about this long ago. This all is kind of already manifested. How the three rochanas of Svar world and three heavens and so on. It's all described with quotations from Sri Aurobindo. This will be published, I guess, this year. They want to do it for the 150th anniversary of Sri Aurobindo.
Okay, that'd be great. So that is the seven rays then also. Those seven are the seven rays.
Seven rays, yes. These seven transcendental are reflected in the seven below. It's kind of amazing. If you look at this again, I have to, yes, so we are talking about structure. Let me find it. Where was that? It's not there, it's here. If you look at this scheme again, I have another better slide for this. So these seven are transcendental.
There he is. Oh, we can't hear you.
We lost you.
So sorry, it was a glitch, some kind of disconnection of internet suddenly. Most probably it's too much to say. But these seven are reflected in the seven in the lower realm. So the triple supermind is reflected in triple overmind. This is the link. And these four are reflected in these four below. That is, this highest supreme existence becomes the matter, the material existence here. Yeah? They embrace all. The existence embraces all. And then the Chittapas becomes pranic worlds, and that prana itself, life force, has two components in it, knowledge and power. Yeah? Knowledge and power are two major components of the prana. And then we have the Ananda, which is represented by many times in these texts by the mind. But Sri Aurobindo makes his correction and he says Ananda is represented by psychic being here, and the supermind mind is representing the supermind. So this is how he does it. he changes a bit the scheme, if you must know.
Good to know.
I know it's a bit, if you don't know Sri Aurobindo, it's becoming a bit like, but still, yeah, still.
I'm
Yeah.
catching little by little.
Yeah, there is much to learn. This is beautiful, kind of geography of the inner worlds. And it is very precise and very concrete with experience. Sri Aurobindo spent all his life mapping all these worlds, that worlds which we have no access to, where our consciousness is not operating ever. We are all on this physical level, vital, maybe mental, a little higher, intuition. Sometimes we have some feelings which are psychic and so on. But truly speaking, he gave us the whole vision of all the worlds, mapping them with Vedic worlds, which is a great help because we have two languages now we can operate with. Yeah?
So where can we find what you just explained about the seven being reflected below? Can we find this information anywhere else, Vladimir?
Yes, I will send you these the article and also yeah. And I've made several presentations exactly on this, on the Aditi and Diti, yes? How the upper seven worlds are reflected in the lower seven worlds. Sri Aurobindo even speaks about seven within seven. So if we take seven lower worlds, we have to find seven in these seven. So 7 times 7 makes 49, and plus 1 makes 50, and the upper 7 times 7 makes 49, and plus 1 is 50, and this 50 and 50 makes 100, and the 100 is the number, symbolic number of fullness, of full manifestation. So that's why this number 7 is so sacred, yes, because we have 7 Adityas. And we have the 8th sun and the 8th sun is the creator of this lower hemisphere, that involved sun. So, which again generates these 7 worlds in the lower hemisphere, in the deities. But they are reflections or projections of the higher worlds. That's why for Bhrigu, how he discovered Brahman, he discovered it as the foundation, as matter. Matter is the highest divine existence. Matter is an existence. It is Satyena Uttabhita Bhumi. The earth is supported by Satya, by the truth. So everything which is manifested in the physical is true, is supported by the truth because it exists. It's interesting. It's not some kind of Maya. It's a statement of the Rig Veda. By the truth, the Bhumi is supported, held by the truth. So everything which is manifested here in one form or another is true, totally true. It's amazing to know. Of course, we assume that we know it, but we really never thought of it, that all the physical manifestation is true in absolute sense, in the sense of the divine existence. Otherwise, it would never come into existence. It might be that in my mind something is, I'm combining wrong things or kind of misled into the wrong context, but in the physical, everything is in the right context. So this is something interesting for the spirituality, because we are used to spirituality as something away from the physical world.
The physical world is beautiful.
Of course, it's divine. How else it could be? Right. Okay, great. So I will close with mantra. Next time we will go to the next topic. I don't remember what it was, but I will look into the plan. Oh, yes, Sandra. Sandy, sorry. You have to unmute yourself. I can't hear you. You have to click on this, in the corner, in the left lower corner.
Got it. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear.
I just wanted to know, we missed last week. Well, is there some?
It's all recorded and it's all in the Google Drive. You can always come there and check it. I can make it even easier for you. I can make a private on YouTube that you can click immediately for yourself. And
Google and I are not getting along this. And
okay.
And I just wanted to mention that when you were chanting the hymns, it was lovely to
Yes.
be with that in the present,
Yes.
and to offer that in the present, you know, to be with the sun and Varuna.
Yeah.
And it was lovely. So I just
Thank you. Thank you. Of course, the text is so beautiful and it's and simple, the simple language and no sophistications. It flows so beautiful.
Yeah, this particular hymn is so important to everything Sri Aurobindo teaches. It's just lovely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
The whole vision of Sri Aurobindo's philosophy, integral yoga, is built on these. And there's somewhere he even says that in this regard, with 5 Purushas, 5 Koshas, 5 levels, he says, I don't introduce anything new, actually. I take it already, it's already there in the Veda. It just re-articulates everything. Yeah. Gives it.
Re-eat it and produce it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Okay. So all the best. See you then. Yeah. Namaste.